Hi, I'm Troy McClure. You might recognise me from such failed projects like Fionn's lovely podcast. And that's what I want to talk about today. So back in October I made a pilot for an improv podcast. So I made it was 10 minutes long, it was very weird, I didn't know who to show it to, and I obviously didn't make any more. But I dug it up and thought, oh, this isn't the worst. So I'm going to show it to you shortly. And I've had an idea to do a sketch show podcast where I take the sketches I've been writing and continue to write and perform all the characters myself and do like a one-man audio sketch show. So yeah, based on the reaction of this, I might do more. I don't know. Maybe this'll just dig it far underground if the reaction is bad. Brilliant. Oh, showing premature work before you do anything good. Great. It's time for... What is it time for? It's time for... What is it time for? I'm getting to it. It's time for... Fionn's lovely podcast.
That sounds alright. Yeah, I like that.
Oh, lovely. Hello, and you're welcome to the rebooting of Fionn's lovely podcast. The podcast that only went for 3 episodes and then shut down, and ever since I've been smashing Control Alt Delete. I've been plugging the podcast in and out again and in and out, and I've just been having no luck getting it back up and running. But then last week my nephew and his friend were over.
My nephew's friend.
The nephew's friend, he's really talented at computers. Like, he has a real gift for computers. So I said, here lads, will you have a look at this? I'm going to make a cup of tea.
Have a cup of tea, won't you have a cup of tea? Won't you have a cup of tea with me?
So I went out of the room, made a cup of tea, made a cup for the nephew. The friend didn't want any tea. No, really, I'm good. Cheers.
No, I'm grand.
No, I won't. No, thank you. I said, fine, you're fixing the computer. I'm a little insulted you won't take my offer of tea. You're in my house. I want to treat you. I want to pay my respects somehow, and I'm kind of insulted you're not taking the tea. But anyway, I came back 5 minutes later. He had the podcast up and running again. And I said, by God, you're some talented young lad. I'll tell you, I'd love to have a lad like you around the house, but I just do not want kids.
I don't want kids. No, I don't want kids. I don't want kids. No, I don't want kids.
I'm too young to be a father. It'd be great if you could just... I don't know. If you could just get babies which are already brilliant at computers. Like, I know we young lads are very good, but if you could get computer technicians and computer wizards and get them to breed with each other, the thing is, they're not the most sexually active of people. So if you could get them somehow to figure out how to reproduce asexually.
Asexual reproduction.
So we'd have more computer technician babies, and you could just go into Tesco and say, here, I'm having awful trouble with the computer. Can I rent one of those computer babies? And they'll waddle into the house. You just place them up at your laptop. And you go and make a cup of tea. 5 minutes later, the computer baby is fixed. Your laptop, it's rebooted. Microsoft 98. You shake its hand. You say, kind of insulted you didn't take the cup of tea, but thank you, computer baby, for your service. Then you go back to Tesco, return the computer baby, and yeah, then you go back to playing your game of solitaire. You know, I suppose everything you put online is a sort of computer baby. Like, you are working with your computer to make a thing that is living in the minds of people, a piece of art, a thing that succeeds you, a thing that lives longer than you do. Kind of putting your seed into the future with your creativity. And yeah, I made a lot of computer babies, but I didn't really take care of them. I let a couple computer babies die. I dropped a few computer babies on their heads and they stopped working. and then they died. He's a bad dad. Someone called Child Protective Services, the computer baby of this podcast. I'm not sure how it survived. I found it huddled in the corner, blue-lipped, skeletal, reading Jordan Peterson, and, you know, he started hating a lot more people. That's the thing when you go through your Jordan Peterson phase. You find, I like all this taking responsibility for your actions and trying to sort your life out kind of thing. I like all the psychology, but I sure do hate a lot more groups than I used to. So I yanked 12 Rules for Life out of the podcast baby's hand, shook him up, gave him some porridge, put a new suit on him, said, we're gonna start afresh. I'm gonna take care of you this time. I'm not gonna neglect you. I'm gonna be a good podcast daddy. You hear me? And, you know, the podcast, fair enough, looked at me a bit vacantly, didn't trust that I go for more than one episode. Maybe I'd just get halfway through production and start watching Riverdale out of self-hate. But look, we'll take it one step at a time. It's going to take some time to rebuild this relationship with my podcast baby. But I think he's going to grow up into a very, very fine young man. And I'm going to be very proud of him. And yeah, God bless you, computer baby. God bless you.
Oh man, I hate ads. Why are there ads? This is a podcast, not TV. I already have Squarespace.
Do you find you wake up with an emptiness in your chest?
I do.
Well, I got the solution for you.
What's that?
Edible cement. It'll fill that hole.
That sounds questionable.
Unlike most products which are sold to you under the false basis that it will make you a more fulfilled and happier person, edible cement actually does make you more fulfilled.
Edible cement. Fill the gaping hole inside.
I can't breathe. Is your name Michael Patrick O'Sullivan? Do you live on the Dublin Road in Sligo? Well, I got the product. It's just for you. You know how you have back pains just below your right shoulder? Well, I got a product for that. It's called Lower Back Pain Cream for men called Michael O'Sullivan who live on Sligo's Dublin Road. We got your back, Michael. Hey, listener, how are you? I like your shoes. That's a nice shirt. Where'd you get it? Can I have it? I don't really have anything to sell. I just bought out this ad slot. I'm desperately lonely. Please. I crave human contact. You can contact me at johnhumphreys@hotmail.com because I am desperately lonely and crave human contact. Goodbye for now. Hope to hear from you soon. And now, we listen to Fionn talk. I was in Italy last week, and while I was away, Ireland had a presidential election. Yeah, I ignored my civic duty and I flew off to Europe with the intentions of travelling for a month, but of course, I got sick in the offset and lasted a week. But anyway, we re-elected our lovely little house elf called Michael D. Higgins. Polling second was a lovely man called Peter Casey, who ran a campaign of unifying people and bringing people together through hatred of the traveller community. You know, hatred is one of the most unifying things. And yeah, I think Ireland would have done really well socially if we had Peter Casey at the helm. I think he would have been a really healthy influence on the country and would have given us a great self-image as a nation. So yeah, it's a shame he didn't get in. We got that bollocks, that vulgar, uncultured bollocks, Michael D. Higgins, and his two stupid fucking dogs. So a couple of nights ago, back when I was in Rome, I was staying in a hostel and I went into my dorm to go to bed and I was there laying out my bag, and then a couple from Mexico came in. The guy said, my girlfriend has the top bunk. Do you mind if we swap beds so I can be together with my girlfriend? And I said, alright, that's fine, no bother. I don't think he understood what no bother meant. It might translate as a kind of an Hakuna Matata thing. It means no worries for the rest of your days. But anyway, I'm getting sidetracked by colloquialisms. I've switched beds, I was chatting to him for a while. They were travelling the world for 3 months. that was pretty cool. And yeah, so I wake up at 1 o'clock in the morning to the sounds of clanging, and I'm like, oh, are they doing what I think? But it stopped fairly shortly, so I was like, oh, maybe there's just something wrong with the bed. So when I woke up the next morning, I had seen that they had taken the mattress off the top bunk, and they were both lying on that. So yeah, that was what they were doing, and I didn't mind that much. Like, I was asleep. But what's the etiquette with that? What is the etiquette of having sex in hostels? Should you really be doing it in the dorm room? I'm very glad I'm a heavy sleeper.
You have been listening to Fionn's lovely podcast. Oh, lovely.
Oh yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
I liked
yeah,
that.
yeah.
So it was enjoyable. It was enjoyable. It was entertaining.
Yeah.